What AI does is not just killing jobs, it's creating a completely different future form of art that we haven't seen yet. Hi guys, my name is Borodante. Now let's talk about AI again. A portion of this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Pretty much doing it because of the very high demand to talk about this. People seem to be pretty nervous about all this stuff, and I guess, as far as I know, this would be the latest installment among the things that make people nervous. So if you guys don't know, this is a Dream Studio AI image generation service. It's based on Stable Diffusion algorithm, same as DALL-E 2 and everything. You pretty much just register in here and you can go ahead and type in anything you want this website to dream of and select how many images, up to 9 at once, you wanna get generated. And I guess I'm liking this one. So it has some tools to control what you're getting, but mostly it's about just directing the way the algorithm applies itself. Really, in terms of the content of the image, you just use the text, or you can upload your own image and go from it, which is also kind of interesting, but really I feel like it's showing what it can do, but it's not a fully fledged tool yet. Of course, you can definitely get your work done daily, constantly with this thing. Well, not done. And here's the thing, this tool at the moment, it's a great base and a great demo, but mostly, really it's a great base for an artist to work from, to search for ideas and stuff like that. And well, since this whole thing started, there was so much outcry on the internet about everything, about losing jobs, about copyright, about what to do next, you know. And I've made a few videos about a year ago and people wanted me to make an update on it, considering all the progress the AI technology made in 1 year. And I gotta say, my main message remains the same. AI is only good news, it's not bad news, but you have to be willing to change. Obviously, you always have to be willing to change, but right now, very much especially so. So I wonder, I download this image and I can upload it to go from it? That's the workflow here? Okay, and then I add, without concept art, and I dream. While looking at this image, I fall asleep. Is that the fantasy here? So yeah, we get this. So it kind of changed what I already got. It photofied it. It was a concept art, then I removed concept art, it made it into a photo. Okay. So yeah, another of my main points was always that use it. Use it constantly. Do not fear it, don't hate it, because there is literally zero benefit to you in feeling those feelings. My whole life experience tells me that nothing ruins things more than fear. If you think you're the kind of artist that will lose their job because of AI, just become a different artist. That's as hard and as simple as it sounds. So yeah, I'm looking up this whole big city park turning into a deep forest thing, because that's what I need to create in this giant land right here. It will probably be smaller. This is some kind of default Unreal Engine terrain here that I applied some procedural texturing to. So it creates a rocky slope where there's a steep angle. So yeah, I've been having fun figuring out all these procedural textures while I still have to, while AI doesn't do it for me by typing in one sentence or something. And yeah, also experimenting with posing my witness character, as well as playing around with particles, which is a whole lot of fun in itself. There's 2 systems of particles now, the classical one that just pushes sprites around, but also the new Niagara system, and in here I have both of them, just for kicks. But yeah, learning all of that was really boosted by today's sponsor Skillshare, which is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative people. and particularly this really powerful course about Unreal Engine 4 and just creating the game. So this course from Greg Wondra here, it's really good. Like, it seems like just a normal extensive course with a whole lot of particular examples, but man, is it just good to consume. I love how he just goes through every asset, every layout, every stage of development, everything you may be interested in. The course just goes ahead and explains all of it. Like, I've been watching them one by one and it's incredible. Developing blueprints for all kinds of stuff, that's where I learned about all these particles and everything. It's so cool. It's turned out to be so easy to do as well. It's so much fun when you know what you're doing. So yeah, I've been having some great time in Skillshare, specifically supporting my research in the whole game development. You know, it's quite a great boost in terms of the quality of the content and the fact that you can choose any direction you want if you're in the field of digital creation or whatever you see in here. So yeah, if you guys want to check out Skillshare, there's a link in the video description. The first 1,000 people that will subscribe to Skillshare using that link will get the first whole month of access to Skillshare for free. So make sure to check out the special link in the video description. But yeah, my latest endeavor in, trying to create my own game, it really feels like one of those art directions that really right now they feel kind of niche, but I just keep repeating on this channel that I feel like we will all be making games in the next 10 years. It will become like the new Instagram, pretty much. It will require a lot of heavy lifting from all these tech giants to develop platforms and technologies to make it happen. But with the support of AI and with the support of VR, all of this will become a lot more relevant and a lot more easy to do for pretty much anyone. And that brings me to another point that a lot of people are afraid of, like everyone will be able to create things. Be it a painting, it's now just one sentence, you're getting a painting. Yeah, well, you're getting a painting that AI gives you. Like, if you really want something specific, you're not gonna get it. Of course it's a question of time, but everything is a question of time. And there's an interesting aspect about this whole thing, while the time hasn't come yet to completely, solve the issue of skill, that right now AI is getting more and more powerful really fast, but it's still like the access to it from the human-machine interface direction is very limited, and it's growing pretty slowly in that regard. Like, it's a powerful tool and everything, but I only can write an elaborate sentence and then tweak some weird non-human things about like how many times I wanted to think about it, like what? Or like which image I want to start from. Oh, it's always going to be starting from this image. Interesting. So that's one way to kind of communicate with it a bit better. But we've seen some demos online about, I think it's DALL-E 2, where you can erase a certain part of the image to make it rethink that part. Well, you can easily see how that would be definitely necessary to really get the result you want, but it needs to go way, way further than that. So not just erasing a part and telling it to redo it, like redo it how exactly with actual human words, with human communication to a computer. And one interesting point that I recently read on the news about AI, I think it was said by one of the most advanced AIs that you can talk to using text. It says something like, the biggest humans bug generally right now is that we confuse fluent speech with actual presence of intelligence. And in this case, it kind of fluently understands what I'm saying, but it sort of just smushes ideas together without truly being able to tell a story to go deeper with that. And one way to improve that would be to write a more complex algorithm to make it develop like a plot in each story. But that would be going away from AI technology and making it, again, kind of like a programmed image generation, which is not the thing. It's kind of like the programmer that develops it is working for you, not just the AI black box. To make AI do that, you need to make this into like a giant rectangle where I could really talk to it in a dialogue. It would be asking me questions about what I want to do, like what I forgot to mention. Maybe it would ask me questions and I would elaborate how exactly I want things to go. And then it would show me a picture and I would answer to it, and it would understand the context of what I want to be changed and everything. So I feel like that kind of stuff is still kind of far away for now, just because it will take a lot of careful tweaking to make it really usable in that regard. But who knows, maybe next year I'll have to make another video talking specifically about the new technology that works exactly like that. But another way which is interesting, the way DALL-E 2 went, or maybe it wasn't DALL-E 2, but where you can erase a part of an image and it will redo it. I think you do it generally in Photoshop, like it's a plugin in Photoshop. So if you elaborate on that and improve things that way, like you can just point and tell it to do it differently, to which extent it should go to make it more precise, or really turning it back into like a bit of a more advanced Photoshop that an artist will have to paint with. Like I can see a big future for AI augmented brushes. That would be a cool thing. Like you're just painting an image, but each brushstroke is just getting interpreted by AI in real time. That would be fun to see. But all of that is not the point, of course. I'm just nerding out here. I'm actually truly excited about this whole thing because I really see how this will bring standalone artists like myself to a completely next level of creation. And I made sure to bring one specific message the last time I was talking about all of this. It was about that all of us will stop being just artists and will get promoted automatically to art directors because we won't have to actually paint images anymore. We'll be directing a bigger project that requires images, that requires videos, 3D models, scripted events in interactive worlds, in VR or augmented reality, and all of that will be done within, your coffee break, and then you share it on VR Instagram or something like that, and people can go there and experience it or something like that. And for now, it seems like weirdly, like who's gonna do it? Who's gonna actually experience that? What the hell is going on, That's the point. It's not just that the technology is not there yet. It's not just that the platform is not there yet. The whole concept is not there yet. We don't know how exactly we'll be able to use all of those VR tools, and how are we actually gonna be easily and comfortably, effortlessly experiencing immersive worlds that are around us all the time. Like, it's not the same as swiping images or something like that, right? It requires more effort from the viewer. It feels like it's not gonna work, but that's just another task to solve. How to make these things work. And they will work, that's for sure. But nonetheless, the big question about people's job safety is like, if everyone becomes an artist, no one is an artist, you won't be able to have that job. And if you get promoted to an art director, the world simply doesn't need that many art directors. Well, you could say the same thing about photographers. When Instagram got invented and everyone got a phone, did photographers disappear? No. Just more people started doing the same thing, but poorly. If you use modern tools and dedicate your professional time to improve your skill at using these tools, you will be a professional that's better than everyone else in it, and people will be paying you for doing that. So yeah, it brings me back to the point of that you have to change what you're actually creating. You need to change. The same way the traditional painters back in the day when photography was invented, they had to change. That's a huge shift in art history that I think not a lot of people realize. When you go to an art gallery and you look at like contemporary art, you look at it like, what's going on? What is this crap? Like, it's not pretty. It's like, why was it created or whatever? Why aren't you all contemporary artists creating something, beautiful? something photorealistic or, just, rich and awesome looking. That's because we had the whole history of artists that's been doing that for centuries. And it was like this huge market for people to create portraits of, rich people and or whatever, those grapes. There was apparently a huge need in grape paintings back in the day. But then suddenly photography was invented, and that was a huge moment when things got downhill, if you think about it from the perspective of, a clueless person that goes to the gallery of contemporary art and thinks like, I could paint that. That's the point, like, since the photography was invented, like, the race for making more and more realistic images was over. And artists started looking elsewhere. They started trying to find the, fifth dimension. That's why Cubism was invented, and all kinds of stuff that allowed us to appreciate beauty in things that we wouldn't be able to appreciate otherwise. I always come back to that example of, look at this phone and imagine looking at it in Victorian times. It would be ugly in Victorian times. But right now, we appreciate so much how it's so round and white and minimalistic and clean and everything. But it's like a rounded rectangle. What's up with that? Where are all the flowers that are supposed to make things beautiful in Victorian times? People literally couldn't appreciate the beauty of a modern phone back then. And that's the kind of stuff, that's the job of contemporary artists, to push our understanding of what's beautiful forward. Because the typical worker guy will never get there. They will never appreciate things further. That's the job of artists. That's what artists do. And it will never change because AI just doesn't do it. This whole example about making modern phone actually beautiful for people, it's not about changing the phone, it's about talking to people. So it's a conversation between a human artist and a human viewer. And AI just removes the question of skill from that, but nothing else changes. The search is still done by people that see purpose and meaning in things. So fundamentally, nothing is changing for the actual, essence of being an artist. It's not gonna be destroyed. The only thing that's getting out of the equation is the question of skill. So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. If right now you create images and the only inspiration for you to create them is because you're working on the skill that's putting you ahead of everyone else, you really need to rethink what you're doing, because that is not enough. That's never been enough. But right now it will be much more obvious to you than ever before. That skill is not enough. You need to find why you're doing this and why people need this. Then you can just replace your Photoshop with an AI website, and all you'll have to do to be an actual artist that people will still need is just by looking for the right thing. And I got a lot of people upset a year ago by specifying that there's a big difference between an artist and a craftsman, and that most people in digital art world are craftsmen, because we're only concerned about improving our skill. There's no real search of developing the understanding of beauty in human society or something like that. That's not what digital artists do. Well, some do. Right now there's a huge movement of digital art in galleries. There's a lot of stuff going on in that regard, but we don't talk about that here. This channel and this community was never about that. So yeah, I guess that's the main message I want to put out today, that AI is pretty much removing the question of skill. And if you want to keep doing this, you just need to find something beyond just the skill. Like, you need to be painting with your head instead of just your hand. That's always been the case, but right now, your well-being will be depending on it, if you want to think about it that way. And there will be enough job for everyone, I'm pretty sure of that, because what AI does is not just killing jobs, it's creating a completely different future form of art that we haven't seen yet. Like, imagine being like a director of Grand Theft Auto 7 or something, where you can literally create the whole continent within the same time frame of development GTA 5, but it would be in 1-to-1 size with full detail of everything, and you would be able to enter every single store, talk to every single person that would have a specific thing they do every day because they have certain goals in their lives and everything. Like, we have a lot of stuff to grow towards in terms of big interactive worlds to really make things believable, not just, like, this game is believable until I touch something that I know won't work at all. That's what AI will unlock. We'll be able to make everything work inside of our virtual worlds, because it will be just a matter of telling AI what to do. So the work of an artist would be not to make it interactive, but to design it. What's interactive, how it's interactive, and what for. So it will be just a much higher level of development. And I see no reason to think that it will require less jobs. It will just make these worlds as more complicated as possible with the same amount of people. Like, you can't have enough developers when your job is creating a world. And of course, as a standalone artist, my biggest excitement here is not about creating infinitely complex realistic worlds, but being able to create as complex of a worlds as I want to tell my story, to tell something interesting and immersive while working on my own and doing things exactly the way I want them to be. So instead of just working on one flat painting, I can work on this kind of painting. I think it's a lot more exciting, and I see very little downsides to that. It only comes down to the willingness to change. So there's that. It doesn't get more epic than this.